Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I hope y'all are having a good week so far. It is a super rainy day, so my lighting is probably not going to be very good. I'm sorry. I did the best I could with my ring lights, but we all know that I'm not the greatest YouTuber yet, so y'all bear with me. Anyway, today I want to talk to you guys about harm reduction, and I know that I've been promising to make this video for a very long time. Harm reduction is something that is very near and dear to my heart, just like pretty much everything I talk about in my videos. But harm reduction is also kind of a sticky subject because a lot of people misunderstand harm reduction, certain aspects of it more than others. But I want to make sure, as always, that I'm giving you guys correct and true information. I don't want to add to the stigma of it that is already out there. And I just want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the right information. So the first thing that you're probably saying, if you don't know anything about harm reduction, is what is harm reduction? And in layman's terms, harm reduction is anything that is just like it sounds, something that reduces the harm in your life. So harm reduction doesn't just have to be about a person who uses drugs. It doesn't have to be. When we're talking about it, it typically is. It can also be for people that drink or have a problem with overeating or not enough eating. Harm reduction can be applied in any section of your life, in anybody's life. You can do things, and you're already doing things actually in your life that reduce the harm. If you brush your teeth every day, that's reducing harm. Going out in your vehicle and putting your seatbelt on, that reduces harm. If you decide to eat a salad for dinner instead of like a carton of Snickers ice cream, that reduces the harm in your life. So that's what it means, a layman's term definition for harm reduction. And when I was doing my research for this, well, I've been doing it for a while, but when I sat down and started trying to accumulate everything into like a cohesive piece that I wanted to put together so I can make this video. Most people define harm reduction as policies, programs, and practices that aim to minimize negative health, social, and legal impacts associated with drug use, drug policies, and drug laws. And I'm quoting that from an article that I printed off from Harm Reduction International, and I'm going to link it for you guys in the description box below. The article that I printed out, it's hard to see. You guys can see all of my highlighting all over it. It's like 3 pages long. And it is, get situated. They're very cognizant of their speech and their language because they know that it matters, and they know that our language can really quickly stigmatize an entire group of people or one person. So they don't use certain words, but it's a really good definition of what harm reduction is, what it entails, etc. But they put stigmatizing language includes, but is not limited to, referring to people who use drugs as drug abusers, addicts, a scourge, junkies, social evil. Because, a lot of people say that. And I'm really bad about saying the word addict because it's been in my vocabulary for so long. And sometimes I wrestle at that because I'm like, well, I am an addict. And I know a lot of people don't mind the use of that word. So, I think that's all something that we all just need to be aware of, is the words that we're using and how we're using them, because that is a form of harm reduction. Just because we chose to use drugs or are choosing to use drugs doesn't mean that we lose our right to be treated like a human. You know what? I'm going to cut that out. So what are some examples of what harm reduction could be? Examples could be needle exchanges, drug testing kits, things like that. drug testing kits, fentanyl test strips, safe injection sites, opioid treatment programs, counseling, MAT programs, which is medication assisted treatment, wound care, syringe disposal, wound prevention, Narcan training. If you carry Narcan, you guys know I talk about Narcan all the time. STD testing, if you can provide people with a ride to go and get these things, if you can take them to their local needle exchange, if you have a needle exchange that is local to you, or if you can take them to their safe injection site and then give them a ride home. If you can take them to their local food bank. A food bank is a harm reduction example. But on the flip side of that, like I said earlier at the beginning of the video, harm reduction isn't always about people who use drugs. Harm reduction is also quitting smoking or not smoking as much. If you're a smoker or if you vape, I do both. I did really well for a while, and then I started smoking again. So I vape and I smoke cigarettes. But if I wake up tomorrow morning and I'm like, okay, today I'm just going to vape, that's harm reduction. If I wake up and I'm like, today, yeah, I'm going to smoke because I know I'm going to be outside all day doing something, so I don't take my vape with me, but I'm only going to smoke X amount of cigarettes. That's harm reduction. Harm reduction can be anything that lowers the harm in your life. Anything that will minimize negative health, minimize harmful consequences that are going to come to you or to someone else. So its purpose isn't to get rid of substance use. It's not. That's not what harm reduction is about. I know that a lot of people have a lot of tunnel vision about that, and they think that that is the answer for everything. They think, oh, if we just get rid of the drugs, then all of our problems will be solved. And if we could just lock everybody up, or however you want to put that, but that's not the case. And we have shown that as a society for years and years and years and years now. And that's why we have this quote unquote war on drugs. And we have shown as a society that we cannot arrest our way out of this problem. It's not happening. When someone gets arrested, if you get pulled over at a traffic stop, you have a brake light out, or, expired inspection sticker, or whatever the case may be, you get pulled over for whatever reason, you get found that you have paraphernalia on you, or you have drugs of some sort on you, and you go to jail. You get zero treatment for your substance use disorder while you are in jail. So please tell me and make it make sense to me how that helps you, because it doesn't help you at all. Because forcing someone to quit using while they are in jail or prison doesn't help them at all. And I know that there are people out there, and there's probably always going to be people out there that are just like, oh, well, they're not using while they're in jail, and that's going to fix the problem. But it doesn't, because there are underlying issues going on. There are people out there that don't have any trauma and, just found themselves with substance use disorder through other ways. Their doctor prescribed it to them or whatever. And then, whatever. There's plenty of cases out there. Problem is that society and media focus on all the bad. I mean, there's a reason that the media has that saying, if it bleeds, it leads. And they focus on the bad of all of us. And yes, substance use disorder is a problem. We are losing so many people to this disease, but you never get shown any of the other statistics. You never get shown the people that can use drugs and function and have a good life and things like that, because nobody wants to hear that conversation. Nobody wants to sit down and have a conversation about how when you send someone to jail, but you don't provide them any treatment for their substance use disorder or therapy if they need therapy or counseling or, anything like that. And then you just release them back out and say, well, here you go. You served your time. And then people want to complain about the recidivism rates. Nobody wants to sit down and have a conversation about that. But if they did, that would fall under harm reduction, because if we could change policies, if we could have big, massive changes that we could all, work together and put things together, we can make massive changes in the world. We can make massive changes for people who use drugs. I mean, if you go back and do research on it, it would blow your mind, the things that people can do and the amount of people who can use drugs successfully. And I'm not advocating. I know that I am not one of those people. I'm not advocating for people to go out there and try to use drugs successfully. I will never advocate for that, because I know that drugs offered me heaven and then took me straight to fucking hell. I know that. And I am scared for anyone to go down the same path that I did. So I don't advocate for that. But I'm also smart enough to know that there are people out there that you can use drugs and not go down the same path that I did. A good book to read and have your eyes opened up about it is Chasing the Scream. And I did a video about my 4 top books on addiction and trauma, and I'll link it in the card above, if wherever they put it. I don't remember. But I'll link it and you guys can watch it. His name is Johan Hari, and it's a great book. And he talks all about the war on drugs and all these studies that he did research on. And he talks about harm reduction in there. It's a great book. You guys should check it out and read it. Anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but harm reduction practices lower the risk of overdose. They lower the spread of infectious diseases. They provide education. They provide a human connection. They provide a way for the harm reductionists to meet people who use drugs where they are at and build a bridge. So when the person who is using drugs decides that they want to make a change in their life, whatever that change may be, I'm not saying that that change is going to be complete and total abstinence, but whenever that person who is using drugs wants to make a change in their life, they know that they have someone that they can turn to, that they can trust, because they have built a connection with me or whoever, the person at their local needle exchange, the person at their food bank, the person at their safe injection site that they see every morning or every day, that gives them, clean supplies, that helps them test their supplies, that gives them Narcan, that trains them how to use Narcan, that train them how to do CPR, that reverse their overdose one day. Whatever the case may be, harm reduction is about building a bridge between me and the person who is using drugs, who I build a connection with, and I show them, hey, I see you. And I see you just for the person you are. And I love you and I accept you for the person that you are. And I'm not going to judge you because you use drugs. I'm going to be here for you no matter what. Whether you use drugs or you don't use drugs, I'm going to be here for you, because just because you use drugs doesn't mean you lose the right to be treated as a human. That's what harm reduction does. All of us, every single one of us in this world right now, wants to be treated with kindness and respect. None of us like to be talked down to. None of us like to go out to eat somewhere and have a waitress, or even go to a drive-thru and have somebody get an attitude with us. We don't like to go to the grocery store and somebody get an attitude with us. But then those same people that, don't like to be treated badly will treat someone else badly. We'll walk out, take a walk in the park and see someone overdosing, or be homeless and take out their phone and make a video of it and post it on their social media instead of offering a hand. Or everybody wants, needs, and deserves to be treated like human beings. We all deserve that. We all deserve that. If you're an active user, there are some harm reduction tips that I'm going to give you guys. I know that back when I was in active addiction, it was different because, like I said, my drug of choice was opiates. And most of the time I was getting mine from the pharmacy. Nowadays, I feel like knowing the source of your supply is not as easy as it was when I was in the game, so to speak. So, if it's possible for you to know who is supplying you, and they say that as a harm reduction tip because then you would ideally know what you were getting. It's just so hard to know now, I feel like, because there are things that you can buy on the internet. You can buy a pill press and do things that you shouldn't do with it. If you can, know the source of your supply when you can. Don't share your supplies, your materials, like your straw. Don't reuse your straw over and over, especially if you have any open cuts or anything like that. Please don't share your straw with someone because it's an easy way for you to pass back, even if it's something just like a cold or a flu. But your pipes, your needles, etc., stuff like that, just don't. You have your own kit that's for you to use. Don't share it with anybody else. Use clean, sterile water and clean cotton. And if you are an IV drug user, make sure that you're rotating and cleaning your injection sites because it's really easy to get an abscess, and abscesses will kill you guys. So, rotate and clean your injection sites. Be careful. Please be careful. I'm not going to speak a lot on that because you guys know that I was not an IV drug user. So as far as like personal lived experience with that, I don't know. I know that I can research that until I'm blue in the face. But as far as personal lived experience when it comes to IV drug use, that I do not have. So I just want to tell you guys to please be careful and know that if I ever speak on IV drug use, it's that I've researched it and double and triple checked everything that I got. So I did reach out and speak to a lady that I know that is a nurse, and she did verify and say, yes, that is a good thing for you guys to do. And also she wanted me to tell you guys to please try to make sure that you're using clean, bottled water if you can, sterile water, and to make sure that you're using the clean cotton. So you guys just be safe out there. Stay hydrated. This obviously is for all of us, no matter if you are a person who uses drugs or not. Especially right now, it's summertime. It's really easy to get dehydrated, and that can bring on a whole host of problems for everybody, not just people who use drugs, but also if you're an IV drug user and you're dehydrated, it's going to give you a lot of problems when you go to use. So stay hydrated. It will also just make you feel better if you're hydrated. Try to eat on a regular basis. And I know that anybody who is using, that's so low on our list of priorities that it's not even funny. I know it was like not even on my list of priorities when I was using. I did not care at all about eating. I would eat sometimes for appearances, and that was about it. But anyway, never use alone. And you guys know, if you don't know, I always, 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 always have the never use alone number in my description box. And just real quick, I know that most of you already know this, but the never use alone number, but I'll put it on the screen for you guys. It is 1-800-484-3731. And all you have to do when you call them, you just call them. You don't have to tell them all your vital information. They want your phone number that you're calling from, your location, and your first name. And they're going to stay on the phone with you while you use, just to make sure that you stay conscious. Sorry, words are hard sometimes. After you are done with everything, you can tell them, okay, I'm done, I'm good, and then you hang up the phone. The only time that they will call emergency services is if you become unresponsive. And when they call emergency services, that's all they say, is that they were talking to you on the phone and that you became unresponsive, and this is your location. So that's a good number to have. You guys keep it in your phone. And if you're in a position, or you just typically use by yourself, call them up and keep them on the phone with you. And that way, if something happens, you you're still here with us, because then EMS services can get to you and they can give you some Narcan or whatever it is you need, and we don't lose you because we've already lost too many, and we want you here with us. Use small amounts, especially if you don't have a way to test your supply. And if you do test your supply and it tests positive for fentanyl, or if you feel like it's going to be something that's really strong, use small amounts, stagger your use. Please, again, don't use alone, or call the never use alone number. I also have a video that I did explaining all my resources if you guys want to know about those other resources that are always in my description box. But, stagger your use smaller amounts. When you guys are ready, you need help, decide that that you want to talk to somebody about maybe a maintenance program or some other different recovery pathway, please reach out to us when you're ready. All of my contact information is always in my description box of all of my videos. You can find me on Instagram at Busted Up a Beautiful Life. You can find me on TikTok at Jessica Compton 1004. All of my DMs are always open on my social media platforms. You can leave me a comment on here. I get notifications on my phone, and as soon as I see them, I try to respond to them, unless something, is just going on and I can't. But please don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. I've been talking to a couple of my subscribers here lately, and I don't consider y'all subscribers now. That's it. You guys are part of my family. Once you click that subscribe button, you're part of my family. So welcome to the family. Once you're in, you're in. You can't get rid of me. So please, you guys, I mean it. If you need anything at all, if there's ever anything that I can do for you, if you need Narcan, if you need to be trained in Narcan, if you need somebody to listen, if you need a shoulder to cry on, literally anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. At that, I'm going to end this video and let you guys go, and I'll see you on Friday. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and be good to each other.